In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Litecoin. Are we going to continue to see a continued pullback for Litecoin and Bitcoin and the rest of the market? For that, we're going to look to Bitcoin as well to look at some indicators. I think there's some clear and valuable targets to look at on why we are going to continue to pull back. As well, I have a little bonus for you after the intro, so make sure to stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel. First, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that button and then hit that other button. And second, I'm going to play for you a brief 10-15 seconds of a new song that I'm working on.
Don't tell me what's right, dancing in the light. Won't last.
Wow, I'm speechless. So if we want to take a look at Litecoin first, and we're going to, again, jump into Bitcoin after we do this, because we do have to look at Bitcoin to get the overall health of the entire market. We always have to. These things are very much coupled together for the time being. Is that going to be the case forever? I don't know. I don't think so. And taking a look even very simply at the Bitcoin dominance, it has been decreasing, meaning that things are kind of doing their own. And this really started back in 2017. On the next bull run, will they decouple even more? I think so. I think that's a very clear pattern that is emerging over the past 2 years. I do think that these two are going to separate themselves even more. Really, it's incredible to look back. 2 years ago, pretty much, is when the big bull run started. It's already been 2 years. So, guys, that's good news in the sense that, you know, we could be getting another one soon. It's not like we just had one recently. 2 years is a decent amount of time, especially because crypto has only been around for about 10 years. So, again, all of this has happened within a 10-year span. Very short time, yet it's been a crazy ride, and the crazy ride probably will continue. So I want to take a look at Litecoin on the weekly first, and then we'll zoom in, and then I do want to look at Bitcoin because I think that has better data to kind of illustrate what's going to happen with Litecoin for right now. First of all, Litecoin has not pulled back completely to where it was about a week ago. It's looking for support, right? So if we want to zoom in a little bit, we can look here on the daily for where that might be. Potentially here on the top of this ascending wedge that had formed, right around about 70, 75 US dollars. Currently, Bitcoin is about 80. Currently, Litecoin is about 80 US dollars, which is a good psychological support. 75 and 70 are somewhat better. And I do think we're going to see continued pullback here. And, you know, if we take a look on the stochastic, you can see the momentum clearly shifted downwards, and we saw that as the price decreased there. If we want to look on the smaller time frames, you actually see the opposite. You see it kind of curving up a little bit. And on the weekly or on the 1 hour, you can see that it is underneath that moving average, and on the 4 hour, it as well as underneath that moving average. However, on the daily, it is not. It's all the way down here at $65. Now, to get a better idea of where I think to look, you know, Bitcoin really has a good thing going on right now, and every cryptocurrency is kind of following this, give or take. Bitcoin is still the one to look for if you're going to do TA. Got to incorporate Bitcoin pretty much with any other cryptocurrency that you're looking at. So here on the weekly, you can see there was some clear resistance right at this 50 moving average right here. And if we look on the daily, and this is primarily one of my best, I guess, cases for why I think we still have continued pullback, is that we have not pulled back to this 50-day moving average. Around 43, 4,400. We initially broke out of about 41, 42, which was long-term resistance for a few months there, right around 41, 4,200. We have not come back to test that, maybe above that 43, even 42, lowest case scenario, I guess. Maybe I would say 43, 42 would be lowest case support scenario. If that would be broken, that would not be a good sign, but we are still about $700 away from that. So I do expect that in the next few days to weeks, we do pull back to this. However, you can see that on the stochastic, you see that momentum shifting downwards, still completely vertical, basically going down. Importantly, on the weekly, and this is probably the biggest one here, the weekly, you know, I pointed this out over the last few days. This was the last time that we stayed so overextended, right around 99 on the stochastic, and this was back in December of 2016. And we have been, that was about November 21st to January 2nd, about a month and a half almost, and we've been up here since March 4th, getting very close to a month and a half. So it would be very natural to see this pull back. It would be very natural to see, because this is kind of the direction that it's indicating, and this is the weekly. So are we in for some more downside for right now? I think so, but I think it's going to be one of the last times we see downside in these areas. So I do think we're probably, once we pull back, find support, and then go back up, I don't think that we're going to be testing these levels potentially ever again. That's a very bold statement there, but I do think we are on an up curve. Now, some people are saying like, we need to test $1,800 Bitcoin first, 2000. I don't think we're going to go quite that low. I do think we're going to get a pullback. I wouldn't even think we would see 3,000 again. We could. If we did, I think that would be pretty drastic, but I do not necessarily think we're going to see something like that. On the 4 hour, though, you do see that the curve on the stochastic is going up. The 1 hour seems to be a little confusing there. If we want to zoom in on the 1 hour for Bitcoin, one thing you can definitely see is that it broke that 50 moving average, and it's trying right now to get above it. On the 4 hour, it broke it, and it's finding support there. Okay, and this is on the 4 hour. On the daily, however, it has not pulled back. I do expect that this, I think we probably have to go down and test in here for support. And again, by doing that, it alleviates a lot of the constrictions of the chart. It kind of equalizes everything a little bit, which allows us to move up more. So it would be healthier. And it's good that it's going at kind of a slow pace. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's been almost 2 weeks that we've been slowly climbing ever since that big burst. Now, are we going to see a huge green candle? I would think, or a huge red candle. I would think that's possible, but I don't. Usually if we get usually if we get a big candle like this, we sometimes get a big reaction candle. We haven't seen that yet, but I do think that we will probably end up pulling back in the short term. The reason why this is good, I think, is because once we do pull back, say we pull back and we find some support around here, and I'll just draw kind of like what that might look like, something like that. We can continue out of this uptrend. And if we start doing something like this, putting in higher lows like this, one here and one here, we start doing that, that really is a good indicator that we're coming out of this bear market. And really, on the weekly, if that were the case, you can see that if we were to break 5,200, 5,300, where we found resistance there, if we would break that, that would be the first time that we get a clear break above that 50 moving average since, let's take a look here, really since 2018, and since this descending triangle really broke down. So I think that would really be a healthy thing to look out for, and I think that's kind of the direction we're pretty much going for here. Now, does that mean we'll see a red candle this week and then close this candle on the weekly here and then another red candle next week potentially? I think that's a strong possibility, but I think overall this momentum is shifting upwards. This is part of the ride, and it's good news in the sense that I think we're shifting overall towards the upside, but are going to see some pullbacks along that journey there. So then if we want to even zoom out even more on the weekly, again, you can see that moving average has played a huge role here. Again, all the way back 2016, 2017, the moving average was clearly above, did not even touch for over a year. And what we're battling with right now, and this is why it's so important here, we need to get above this 50 moving average. You can see clear resistance. I mean, this is clear as day to me. I think a lot of other people are talking about the same thing, and I think that's good in the sense that this is kind of like the obvious thing. Like people are, it seems kind of obvious. It's not super complicated, and it's been working lately. This is clear resistance, right? So will this continue? I think so. I think we're going to see a pullback in the meantime, though. So I'm personally going to be taking advantage of that because, and this is something I mentioned in my video yesterday, is that I definitely got a sense of nostalgia and a sense of, again, you can't trade on your emotions, which I'm not, but I do just want to point out something about emotions is that the excitement that comes with things like this was very reminiscent of, times back in the 2017 bull market. Now, we're clearly not in a bull market yet. We're potentially very close to breaking into one, but noticing these signs early is definitely super important. And getting excited, you don't want to get excited for Bitcoin. Well, you can, and I think it would probably be a long-term really good play. You don't want to get like super excited for Bitcoin when Bitcoin's right around 9,000, 8,000, 10,000 US dollars, when you could be getting excited much lower. Now, that's just my opinion. But I think that, how many of you would be excited if Bitcoin was at $10,000, $11,000? First of all, that would be super exciting because that means that it broke so many technical obstacles that it would probably be going up and it would probably be going up fast. We probably wouldn't be at 10,000 US dollars for 3 months. It would probably be a much quicker uptrend. Wouldn't be at 15,000 US dollars per Bitcoin for very long. We probably wouldn't be there for a few months. We'd probably be skyrocketing. And if we want to zoom out and kind of get the entire, picture of the market. Now, this is the past, and a lot of people have been looking at this to kind of tell them what is going on, what is happening with the price. Now, even if it was something like this, it's very poorly drawn, so don't really look here and take these numbers here, but if it was something like that, that would mean this would be a long bottoming out period, which we would be hovering around here for a while, which again is a possibility, but I think things could be a little more sped up from this past market. And just to entertain that thought, say something like this would happen. The next time Bitcoin gets to 20,000, it would be, according to this, about 2 years from now, right? I think it could be sooner, but do you see how much more parabolic this is? 1 month it's 40,000. If we just go another month later, it's $25,000 more than that, 65,000. Things get very drastic, and I think that's important to look on the logarithmic scale. If you switch it to not logarithmic, this whole chart becomes a mess. It looks like there's no price action at all. That's why it's important to do it by percentages, which is what logarithmic does here, because I don't think you can do TA really not on logarithmic. If you guys have not on log, if you guys have a comment about that, again, this is kind of like a super bullish scenario. Let's take a look. Let's draw another scenario here just to see what that might look like. So we can start here, and I think it might be not smart to be starting from the last bear market, which is kind of what I've been doing. But say we get something like this, very similar here. That would mean about another year of prices like this. Do I think that's possible? Maybe. But I think there's a lot of excitement in things that did not exist back here. And so I think it's very much here. That's bad. I think it might be even more possible to see something more sharp. And what would that mean? Well, we'd be exiting this within the next few months. I think that's a possibility as well. These prices would be pretty crazy, though. That's like already 200,000 per Bitcoin. But can you imagine if something like that would happen and happen that quickly? Neither of these scenarios seem too absurd in terms of the past movement of Bitcoin. And this is on a macro trend, so this looks really small, but this is actually a lot of data consolidated. I do think, though, that these patterns are both pretty realistic. I think both of them. Now, again, there could be other patterns that, not even close to this, because if, a few months go by and the chart did something like this, which I don't really necessarily think there's a lot to indicate that would be the case, although it's always possible. Again, this is crypto. TA can fly out the window at any moment. Do I think we would be at 1,800 in around Christmas of next year? Or, that sounds crazy to say, right? Like, I sound crazy saying that, but is it possible? Anything is. But we haven't seen something like that with Bitcoin. We haven't seen such a divergence from these patterns. So I do think something more realistic would be something like this, and that's incredibly bullish. These are super bullish scenarios. Again, these are 1, 2, 3 years out even, but basically about 2 years out. But I do think these are possibilities. Just looking and those what I just drew here are literally nothing except kind of taking this pattern and kind of extending it in terms of the motion that it's the motion that it's had, and I think that's possible. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that button, hit the other button. Let me know what you think of the song as well. I'm probably going to release the whole thing, but let me know what you guys think about it. If you guys like it, I have much more that I've never uploaded, but I would love to put the stuff on the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another episode.